The following is an audio interview between law enforcement and those who witnessed the tragic incident at the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade when Darrell E Brooks drove his mother's red Ford Escape through the parade. 6 people lost their lives that day, more than 70 sustained injuries, and the numbers of those emotionally traumatized is beyond the hundreds. While most of the descriptions contained in this video are not graphic in nature, some may find this audio difficult to listen to. Viewer discretion is advised.
And I guess I should start by, are you okay? I mean,
Yes.
did you get injured?
I was not injured.
You're not injured? Okay, good. All right, so the main questions they wanted us to ask was, well, first of all, you're not injured. I asked you that already. Did you have any kids or anything with you?
No.
No? Okay, and they were, so obviously nobody was injured there. Would you consider yourself a witness or a victim?
Witness.
Witness, okay. And what did you see? What were your observations?
I heard boom, boom, turned. I was at the west end of the parade on
Okay.
Main Street. Turned to look east on Main and saw a red SUV with significant front end damage flying down the far right-hand side of the road. My first thought was, he's going too fast for the curve.
Okay.
And I turned and put my hands out and started yelling, "Get out of the street, get off the road, get out of the street." And I was directly in front of the Catholic Memorial football team.
Okay.
And I didn't even get to say like one full sentence of "get out of the street," and he
Went right by you.
went right by me. I ran to the first of there were 4 casualties in our immediate area. I ran to the first one.
Okay.
And immediately started to
Provide
assess patient,
help.
provide
Okay.
aid, and stayed with patient. She was stable, conscious, and talking.
So that first injury, did you see how it happened? Did he hit her directly?
I
or-
did not.
Okay. Do you remember if it was a white female, white male? What was it?
Hispanic female.
Hispanic female?
I know her name, date of birth, and allergies if you need them. And her
You do?
son's name, who was also injured. So.
Okay, what was the person's name?
Marisol Lopez Gutierrez.
You have one heck of a memory.
Oh,
Okay.
because he said, when I said, "What's your mother's last, what's your last name?" He said, "Do you want mine or my mom's?" So
Okay.
her husband's name is Rodolfo. There were actually 2 people that attended that were first on site with that patient. It was a bilingual female
Okay.
and her husband. She was the one that got her phone, called the husband, told him where we were so he could find us, but then
Okay.
she got a call saying that her son, who was in the marching band, had been injured.
Oh,
And he was at Martha Merrill's bookstore. And so she left, and then once another nurse who I knew came, and the 2 of us were providing care, then he left.
then he left. Okay.
So, and then we
So
stayed.
Rodolfo wasn't injured then?
Rodolfo was not even
No,
there.
they were never there. The only 2 that were there were Marisol and Adair. Do
Correct.
you remember what Adair's date of birth was?
I do not know. I know he's 10.
10 years old? Okay. Where exactly did you say you were standing?
I was just west of Planned Parenthood on Main Street.
Okay. And when you saw the vehicle coming, do you believe that he was trying to avoid people? Was he swerving around, or do you think he was aiming at people? What your honest
Yeah,
opinion?
by the time he got to where we were, he was clearly attempting to avoid people. He was as far right
Mm-hmm.
on the road as he could be.
So you think he just basically ran out of space?
I cannot make that determination. I cannot speak to.
Did you see the guy driving the vehicle?
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw him.
Does it fit? What description would you give of him?
Yes.
So does it fit the description of the subject they've been showing on TV?
Yes.
So a black male with,
I saw the face, the
Mhm.
hair, the scruffy, both hands on the steering wheel, nobody else in the car.
oh, what else? So if I were to show you a picture of him, you'd recognize
I
him.
would have recognized him
Yeah.
without it being on television, yes.
Do you remember, and I know it happened super fast.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he was wearing?
No.
How about his hair?
Yeah, the dark hair, I couldn't tell if it was dreads or if it was, but it was not like well kept. It was and the scruffy black facial hair.
So you would say maybe long hair, you just couldn't describe what kind of long hair?
Right.
Okay. And scruffy face.
Correct.
And just to be clear, scruffy face, I mean, he had some facial hair.
Yeah, the black
Okay.
facial hair is what I saw
Okay.
in his hair.
All right. Is there anything else? Who were you there to watch? Were you associated with any groups like Extreme Dance or the Waukesha Blazers?
No, I live right on the river, not even a quarter mile
Okay.
from the parade route, and I'd gone for a run, and then it's typical is to,
You
I
just
just
stopped
walked
and
the route.
watched.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was doing.
That's what most people would do.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay. Is there anything else that you think that, well, first of all, did you take any film?
I did not.
You didn't take any pictures either?
Nope, never looked at my watch, never took pictures.
Okay.
Nothing.
Is there anything that you think it's important for us to know about the incident that we didn't ask you or that I didn't ask you?
No.
No?
Thank you, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not sure whether the prosecution will need you at all regarding this. I mean, right now I don't know how many witnesses we are,
Yeah.
but well over 100.
Yeah, I would say there's gonna be.
So, I'm not sure who the prosecutor will choose to move forward with on this, but expect that somebody will call you at some point and at least kind of let you know,
Okay.
yes, we'll need you, no, we're not going to need you, thank you for your help, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
So are you doing okay though?
I
You
am.
got a little emotional
I
there
am.
when you started talking about,
Yeah.
the people and stuff, so.
Well, I am lucky enough to have a strong support system, and I have the background in,
Mhm.
so I'm in surgery, so I'm
Okay.
used to seeing people's insides on the outsides, and blood doesn't bother me, and I worry more
It's a little
about-
traumatic though when they
Yeah,
usually
it's
happen, right?
traumatic for
Yeah.
everybody. Yesterday was a really rough day. Today was
Yeah.
much better. So hopefully we can help support all the people in the community that don't see this kind of thing on on a regular basis, or even injured humans. And
Right. No, I hear you. Oh, by the way, where do you work? What did you say your position was?
I'm an ambulatory surgical nurse.
That sounds like an exciting job.
I run the 5 clinics for one of the general surgeons with West Dallas.
Ah,
and one
okay.
hospital, yeah.
How many years have you been doing that for?
I've been there 3 years.
3 years? Okay. All right, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
So, again, unless you can think of something, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
All right, Elise, did I forget something?
Was the car speeding up or slowing down? That's the only thing. Was the
Oh, yeah.
speed.
I did not notice that his speed changed. He was already going super fast.
Okay. So to be clear, you didn't notice a speed change because he was already going at a very high rate of speed?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Elise. I can't understand the handwriting.
I know, his was sloppy on there.
They gave us a list
I
of.
would say, everybody take a picture of this. And you're like,
Well, that's what we
doesn't
did.
matter,
Look at
can't
the
read
pictures.
it.
Yeah.
So we were leaving the room and she took a picture of it, and I'm like reading. I'm like, what the heck does that say?
Yeah.
It's like a doctor wrote it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just went by experience. but I'm glad she remembered that question. So all right. Well, thank you so
All right.
much, ma'am.
Thank you
It was a
both.
pleasure meeting you, and I'm sorry it's under these circumstances.
I agree.
And the time is 2:44.
So we're basically just interviewing anybody that may have witnessed the occurrences from Sunday, or been a victim to the witness, or been a victim to what occurred on Sunday at the parade. So
Fortunately, we're all victims, but some more than others.
yeah, I suppose you're right on that one. And so
I'm going to pull up a map here for you.
okay, and I guess what we're looking for is stuff that you actually witnessed and not what you had seen afterwards on the news or video feed or anything like that.
Right. No, I
Um,
can do that.
Okay,
I just wanted to start with giving you the address where we were.
perfect.
So we'll pull that up here. So we were sitting. Well, we were sitting across from the Waukesha Tattoo Company. And that would be. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No rush.
Usually gives you the address.
Right. What, do you know a road that's on?
It's on Main Street.
And is there a cross street next to that?
Yeah, we could do that. So it's right where it turns. It turns the corner to north to West Avenue. So the nearest cross street would be Maple. Maple comes in.
But you're right across from the tattoo
We're right
company?
across from the Waukesha Tattoo Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time do you think you got there around?
To the parade?
Yeah.
We got there kind of early, like 3:30ish, because we were saving some seats. But
And who'd you go with?
so my wife Lori,
Okay.
and then that's Lori.
LORI.
Yeah. And then that's my sister-in-law. That's Faith.
Faith?
Yes.
And that's
And-
who, with the baby, is that Faith? Or?
That's my wife.
That's
She's
your wife.
holding Faith's granddaughter.
Okay, so this is your sister-in-law here.
Yeah.
That's Faith, and your wife is Lori in the other
Right.
room.
She's
Got
in
it.
the room.
Okay.
And then my other sister-in-law, Rebecca, and her 2 children. We all kind of met there. We didn't like arrive together. We just
Okay.
met at that spot.
Got it.
So Rebecca and her 2 kids, Lauren and Madeline.
How old are they? Roughly.
Lauren is a freshman in high school, and Madeline is, I think, like 7th grade, give or take a little bit. Hard to keep track of these kids nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And then our neighbor met with her 2 children, and they just they came later, and they just jumped in and sat down. But everybody's there before the start of the parade, though.
Okay. And then,
So I think there was a group of a group of 12 of us that were, we all knew each other.
got it. And as you're watching the parade, what's the first thing of significance related to this incident that you saw or heard?
So as we're sitting across from the tattoo parlor, and then we heard some kind of commotion that wasn't parade-like. And then, at least me, I turned my head and I saw the red truck with the crushed hood speeding directly towards us.
Which way would that be, to your right or your left?
So it was coming from the left, going to the right. So we were facing. The parade was going from left to right as we sat there.
So it's coming the way of the parade.
Yeah, the truck went down the parade route with the direction of the
Okay.
movement of the parade.
And do you know what kind of truck it was?
It was a red SUV.
Okay.
And
You said it had a crushed hood?
right.
Okay.
I could see the hood like this.
Hood was like kind of buckled up. You heard unbuckled. Okay. Could you see a driver?
I saw a driver. I saw a gentleman. Probably. I'm trying to give you the information from when I remember it, not from what I
Yes.
have gleaned
Perfect.
from the.
Yes.
So, if I'm thinking about it like if I was right after it happened, he would be a gentleman of mid 30s, I would say. If you were to ask me all these questions, like 5 minutes after. That's why that's what I'm trying to give you.
Okay.
Probably mid to late 30s. I couldn't say what race, but I did see a beard.
And
I only saw one person in the car. At least that I could see. If you had to pin me down on it at that time, I would say one person.
okay. And could you tell what his hair was like, aside from his facial hair?
I just remembered dark. I couldn't say, at the time, I couldn't say brown or black.
I mean, like, okay, perfect. And if, like, long or short, or do you know what kind of hairstyle he had?
No.
Okay. So, you see the SUV, red SUV
Yeah,
with the
so-
driver you described coming, you said right at you guys. Where were you seated? Were you in the road or on the sidewalk?
We were right. Like this would be the curb. You know, if this was the curb, we were on that like spot right on the curb.
Like the curtilage here? On the
Yeah,
grassy area, or?
Yeah, well, in that particular area, it's brick, but it's between, the area that goes between the curb and the sidewalk.
Okay.
There's usually like a little. On some streets it would be grassy, but on that particular one, it's paved.
And
So we were able to have some of our group was sitting on blankets right on the curb, like as it was a seat, and then some of us were sitting one row back in like lawn chairs and stuff.
okay. And you had indicated that you saw and heard a vehicle. What did you hear?
Well, I said I heard commotion,
Oh, okay.
not parade-like.
Okay.
So, normally at a parade there's, laughing and screaming of delight. But I heard a lot of yelling and screaming that was not parade-like. That's why I guess it got my attention to turn to the left.
And as you saw this individual driving the vehicle, could you make any other observations? Like, was
He's
he
on a mission.
How do you mean?
He's driving like this and he was
Two hands on the
straight
wheel?
ahead, trying to. Well, I don't know what he was. I wouldn't know. At the time, I didn't know what he was trying to do.
What
Actually,
you showed me was two hands on the wheel.
Yeah, and he was like very focused ahead, very focused.
Did it seem like he was trying to swerve away from people, towards people? Could you tell by the way he was driving?
The first thought in my head was he was fleeing, trying to get away from something. So when I turned and looked at the left,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he was a half a block. But the marchers, I couldn't say what group was marching or, walking or participating in the parade. But then his truck was here, coming at me.
So he's going by the marchers?
He was coming around between the curb and the marchers. So at that point, I don't remember if they were scattering to the sidewalk, because there was a lot of screaming, and I think a lot of people were. I would surmise they were screaming, "Get out of the way" or whatever, but I can't say I heard that words because it was all happening at once. But I remember seeing the car coming straight down well, if it was coming at us, it would have been in the parking lane, in the direction of the correct direction of travel, if there were
Did he
cars.
hit the curb at any point that you could see?
I don't know. Not that I saw that he hit the curb at that point, because he came around the marchers at that point, and I think there was like a break there was a little break in front of us, and he was looking for the opening. But that's right in front of our
So when you say a break, like a break in the parade?
He was looking for an opening to get through. The faster, the better.
Okay. And then,
by that time, he was already past.
so at first he was coming right at you. Did you guys move out of the way, or did he swerve so he didn't hit you?
I think he was, by that time, he was already turning. Well, I shouldn't say turning is the wrong word. I should say kind of drifting off to the middle of the road. Because we had a light pole right next to us, a big light pole.
Oh,
So he may have seen that. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But if I was trying to get away from somebody, I sure wouldn't go towards the light pole. But yeah, we had a light pole, a street lamp or whatever.
all right. So he kind of veers off to the middle of the road, and then what?
And then he's off. He's off, already past us.
Was he maintaining the same speed, or?
If I had to guess, I would say he was accelerating.
Do you base that on visual, or were you hearing
I don't know.
anything? Okay.
I know he wasn't slowing down though. If I had to think back, maybe there was some. But it's hard to tell when you have the direction of travel when somebody's coming in front. When like a motorcycle goes past you,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really tell if it's speeding up or not, because then all of a sudden you hear the tailpipes, which makes it sound louder.
True. Okay, so after he kind of veers off the middle,
But then there's
and then he
there's
keeps
the corner,
okay,
which is where it turns, which is only like, from here to the end of that's where the road turns.
okay,
And because right there at the end of that road is a war memorial,
okay.
so that's got a bunch of big pillars and stuff, so you couldn't go straight. Well, you could try, but
So we got to
there's
the
a
corner.
there's a bunch of concrete, like
Oh, matches. Okay,
it's statues and stuff.
Sure.
'Cause it's a war memorial, so it's like, big gigantic concrete abutments and such.
okay.
So he had to make that turn.
To the right or the left?
If he was going, it would be turned to the left.
And then out of your sight, or could you see where he went after that?
No, because then there's too many buildings in the way. By that time, I was already going that way. I was already moving to the.
You were going where?
So my wife, so that all happened so quickly, and then all of a sudden we're hearing, lots of screaming and so forth. And then I turned around to make sure my family was okay. And then my wife said, "Go."
She said go.
Yeah,
Go. What did?
I'm a nurse practitioner.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where did you go then?
I went to help people that were injured.
Would to the area where the vehicle
people
had
that were
come?
on the ground.
Okay. And they were to your
So
left.
that would have been to my left. That would be going back up the parade route to the east.
And who did you go help at that point?
After that, it's a kind of a blur.
Understood.
There were many people on the ground, and so I just kept triaging people. And as I was triaging, I was moving forward because I was trying to find the people that were hurt the worst. And then I eventually settled on helping one of the paramedics. He was a off-duty paramedic with a particular lady that was pretty badly injured.
How was she? Do you remember how she was injured? What injuries she had?
Well, at first she wasn't conscious, but then she came around. I mean, from here on in, obviously conjecture because I don't know. I didn't have a X-ray machine or CT scanner out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But we're pretty sure she had a skull fracture.
Did you stay with her until other help arrived, or?
Right, because eventually enough of the paid departments showed up, and EMS or whatever you want to call it, and then we were able to finally have one of them grab us a backboard so we could put her on. And they were able to grab us a backboard and a seat collar, so we were able to get her ready to move.
Do you remember her talking to you at all?
Yeah, she just kept saying my head hurts.
Do you know her name by chance? Or
Her name was Betty.
Betty?
And the only reason we know that is because one of her, she was part of the Dancing Grannies.
Okay. So older female?
Right. I couldn't tell you the age though. I'm sure you can find that out.
Yeah.
And then, so we, finally one of the ambulance crews came and got us and said then we can load her up, and that's the last I saw her.
You said an ambulance came? Or
One of the ambulance crews.
okay.
I couldn't tell you which department though.
And she was loaded up then?
Yeah, we got her loaded in, and then they took off to somewhere. And then I stuck around for a little while, and I helped out a little bit more with some odds and ends here and there, whatever the. By that time, most of the people were fortunate enough to have gotten rides out of the area.
The injured people?
Yeah. I think after we loaded up Eddie, there were maybe 5 or 6 that were in the staging area, which is right in front of the Steaming Cup restaurant.
When you first started approaching the area, you said you saw a lot of bodies.
Well,
Best guess, I mean, how many people?
when I shouldn't use the word bodies. I should
or
use the
well,
word
people, injured people.
There's 1, 2, 3. There were like, I know of like 4 already on the ground. I know of 4 on the ground before I got to Betty, and they already had people around them, so that's partly why I kept moving.
Okay.
Because you can kind of tell when the folks that are helping the person are somewhat medically trained, because
Okay.
you can kind of just pick that out.
So those 4 you could see had people who somewhat knew what they
Right.
were doing,
Right,
and that's why you went to Betty.
right.
Okay. Was anybody around Betty when you got there?
Yeah,
The off-duty EMT.
yeah,
Okay.
but I think he was kind of by himself, so
Okay.
I was just looking for people that were, all happen within like literally seconds.
Did you hear any statements made from any injured people or anybody about?
No,
Yeah.
because the ones that were on the ground weren't talking.
Okay. And then the only thing that Betty said is she's saying that her head hurt.
Yeah, she wasn't conscious at first.
Okay. But you didn't see how that happened to her. I mean, you didn't see it
Did
actually.
I see the car run her over? No.
Okay. That's
But-
good. Did you see? Did you see that car when it was going for the opening, or any time before or after that? Did you see the car actually make contact with any people?
Not that I could.
Okay.
Not that I could definitively. I mean, not like a front end hit. No. Plus, it was, it was a half a block away, and I was. No, to answer your question, no, I couldn't say that I saw it hit somebody.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have any pictures or video?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's just one thing we're asking anybody.
Yeah.
So,
No, that'd be nice. No, I didn't.
there,
Like a lot of people were probably filming the parade.
right. Surprisingly, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
video. So,
Yeah.
and you said you're a nurse practitioner.
Yes.
Where do you work? Is there anything else that you can think of that I didn't ask or that we didn't talk about that may be a significance about what happened on Sunday?
No, I've never done this before, so
That's fine. And it's
I mean,
just try to sometimes it's best not to force,
right.
what you remember, but
And I just remember I remember all the screaming, the screaming to my left, or maybe it was just a lot of yelling. Maybe screaming is the wrong word, but a lot of yelling. But it wasn't yelling like, "Oh, that's a cool float" or something like that.
Mhm.
It was abnormal, and then all of a sudden you see this vehicle. When it's first coming at you, it's hard to tell, but you see this vehicle and it's going rather quick or rather fast. And my first thought was, once I figured out it was not part of the parade, because at first when you look, you just see it. It's a still picture until your brain goes, "Oh, it's moving," and it's got a crushed hood. And my first thought was that he's fleeing.
yeah. Did the observation you made of the driver, was that through the windshield or
Through the
a
windshield.
side window?
It's through the windshield.
Through the windshield.
Because by the time it was moving past from in front, it was going too quickly.
And so the people that were seated on the curb in front of you, did they have to jump out of the way to avoid getting hit, or did it happen so quickly?
It happened really so fast. I mean, he was cooking.
Yeah.
So he was literally down. From the doorway to the, whatever.
Where he turned.
Your visual, your line of vision is like here. I mean, it's like
That's understood. All right.
he was going fast.
Yeah.
I think earlier he was probably going a little slower from the videos that I saw. But by the time he was getting down to us, he had an opening,
Mm-hmm.
and he could see the opening, and I think that's where he was going.
So if you were, like you said earlier, if we had talked to you 5 minutes after this happened, if you were shown a photo of this individual at the time, then do you think you'd be able to identify him?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it was, you had the windshield, and there was probably glare off of it, so you don't get it's not like you and I are sitting across from each other.
And so if the parade, what time was this about? Do you remember?
Well, I mean, I could tell you now because everybody's got video and all that. But if you had to ask me when it happened, like we said, like 5 minutes. If you'd asked me 5 minutes after, I'd be like, I don't know, partway through the parade.
The parade started at what time?
Well, the parade kicked off at 4 at the far end, and then however long it takes you to get to you is another 5-10 minutes. So we're probably into the parade like 20 minutes. If you had to ask me, right? So I'm assuming it's around
approximately
probably 4:30ish.
Okay.
but I'm not watching the clock. I'm watching the parade.
No, it's understood. That's why you're there.
Yeah. No, you guys gotta get this down. So try and corroborate everything.
No, and what you said is, I mean, just going off what you remember, that's all we ask. So, well, if you can think of anything else, if something else comes to your head, like later on, and you feel like you should tell us, I mean, I can provide you with a phone number and you can reach us. That's not a problem.
But it happened relatively quickly. Because it's a surreal thing, because you don't expect a speeding car to be coming through the parade route,
right?
And then once he cruised through, because when he was coming around the people that were to the left of me, and he was going towards this, it'd be to the west.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that he was not, it didn't look to me like he was aiming for people. He was looking like he was trying to get away. Which now we know that was or at least according to the what the media says.
Right. Did you talk to anybody that night? As far as investigators or law enforcement?
Not specifically. The reason that you have my name is because I think one of the gentlemen that was taking down names was there and just grabbed me.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you wanna, if we need you, will you come tell us what?" He said, "If we need you, will you be available?" And I said, "Sure."
Good. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Come and talk to us. So. All right.
Please keep the victims and witnesses in your thoughts and prayers. I have included a link to the Waukesha Community Foundation Fund if you would like to learn how you can support the victims impacted by this tragedy. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.